Okay, so let's talk about the quadratic formula. Okay, so the quadratic formula, well, you're probably wondering what the heck is the quadratic formula. Well, let me tell you. It is used to solve quadratic equations. So any quadratic equation that I have, if it's in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then I can use the quadratic formula to solve this, okay? And this is what the quadratic formula says. It says that if I take negative b, whatever b is, if I take negative b, I add or subtract the square root of b squared minus 4 times ac over 2a, then that will give me the result of some x value that if I was to go back and substitute and plug into this equation, I would end up with a value of 0. Now, a, b, and c are just regular numbers, okay? So these are just, a and b are coefficients that are attached to your variables, and then c is your constant, okay? So let me give you an example. So let's say that we have x squared plus 4x minus 1 equals 0. Let's say that this is the polynomial that we're working with. This is the quadratic equation that we have. Then according to this formula, as long as I can identify what a, b, and c are in my equation, I should be able to substitute those numbers into this formula that I've thrown up here. So when I look at this equation, I can see that a is equal to, well, this coefficient here is actually just 1. So a is equal to 1. B is equal to this guy here, which is 4. And then c is equal to negative 1. Okay, so if you notice in my original generalization here, this says plus c. The fact that this is a negative, I need to take that into account. So c equals negative 1. Okay, so that's what that's going to look like. And now I can use these values and substitute them into my formula to determine what the value of x is in order for this equation to equal 0. So x will equal negative b. B is positive, or b is 4. So I'll have negative 4 plus or minus. Then I've got b squared, and in this case it's 4, so I'll have 4 squared. Minus, then it says 4 times a times c. Well, that's going to be 4 times 1 and times negative 1 over 2 times a, which is also just 1. So now I've got x equals negative 4 plus or minus. I'm going to just work out what's happening underneath the radicand here. This is going to be 16. Because I am multiplying this negative 4 by this negative 1, I'm going to end up getting an addition statement. So this will actually just be plus. That'll be plus 4 over 2. And here I have negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 20 over 2. And in this step here, I'm actually just going to rewrite this as a mixed radical. Okay, so I'll have negative 4 plus or minus. In here, I've got 4 times 5, and then I can take the square root of 4, which will give me 2 root 5 all over 2. And now I'm just going to simplify, okay? I'm going to simplify, and I can simplify negative 4 over 2 by saying that that's just negative 2. And then I can simplify 2 root 5 over 2, which is just plus or minus root 5. So what I can say with this equation is that for x squared plus 4x minus 1 equals 0, this equation has 2 solutions, 2 real solutions. So this equation has 2 real solutions. I can also use the word roots. I could say this equation has 2 real roots. We're going to talk in more detail about what this word actually means. But for now, just know that when you solve an equation, that is set to equal to 0 like this, whatever value here I'm getting for x, that's called a root, okay? So I can say this equation has two real solutions, or two real roots at x equals -2 plus root 5, and at -2 minus square root 5.